Today, I am joined by Angela Campbell, who is one of our board members. And today we're going to be talking about mentoring magic. And I say mentoring magic because for me, mentoring is such a powerful tool that is often undervalued from the perspective of those that need mentoring and those that can be a mentor. From a personal perspective, and I was sharing this with Angie Campbell, my husband, who has spent many years as an electrician, transitioned from a union electrician technician to a non-union project manager, different company. I encouraged him to grow and move beyond, being an electrician. And he found himself really in this messy middle stage of his career because he was so used to being the technician. And in his new role, he was struggling. So his company actually had, not his company, his professional organization had a mentoring program. They paired him up with a mentor. They had a little handbook. They went to breakfast. My husband likes breakfast, so it was like a win-win. They went to breakfast every week at a local pancake shop here in the suburbs of Chicago. Now, fast forward to today, he is paying it forward because now he's mentoring somebody else. So I wanted to share that personal story because, the title Mentoring Magic, it really is a magical experience if the mentor and the mentee are aligned and it's structured and all the things. So I invited Angie Campbell here with me today because number one, let me just share this from a personal perspective about Angie Campbell. Angie Campbell is a person who not only talks the talk, but she walks the walk, right? A lot of people will say that they can do all these things, but when it's time to do the things, they don't produce. And so she is definitely someone that produces when she says, even if it's like let's say we signed up to do something and now it's time to do it, and she's the only one that can carry out the mission. She understands her assignment as an HR professional, as a mentor. And so I just wanted to tell you that because I have enjoyed watching your growth, your development, your transition from working a lot to still working, but more volunteering and mentoring and giving back. And just some of the things that you do outside of our industry are so impressive. It shows your true commitment to who you are and what you say you do.
Well, that is very humbling, Lisa. Thank you. And I have had so many wonderful examples that trying to follow in their footsteps is impossible. But as you said with your husband, paying it forward, I think that is what I have tried to do and to try to demonstrate in my actions is that all along the way, I have had somebody help me, somebody show me the way. And that's what I want for our future generation of HI professionals. We have got to give them a helping hand, show them the way, guide them along so that they can be successful, so that they can love what they do as much as we do. And that's why I do it. I have loved my career. I think it shows to anybody who knows me and knows what I have done. I love giving back. And you're right, as I have transitioned into much more volunteer time than work time over the past year, I have given back, as my husband says, you work way more time than what you get paid for anymore.
Well, and you know what? I think there's something to be said about that because I think about me from a personal perspective. From 1989 to last year, 1989 to last year, I was constantly on this grind, doing the things and making the money. But more money, more problems. But money does not equal happiness. Money can buy you things, but things don't equate to happiness. And so I have personally learned that no is a complete sentence. I don't have to say yes to everything, but also that I needed to protect my own personal, emotional, physical, spiritual real estate because I want to live a long life and I want to be healthy living this next 50 years of my life.
No, I agree completely. And that happiness is something that money can't buy. That contentment, that feeling of self-worth. And to follow up on yesterday's live, that self-advocacy of saying enough is enough, and I can do this because, and I'm good at this because, um, advocating for yourself that I'm going to only do this, or like you said, no is a complete sentence. Sometimes we have to be able to do that. But thank you for inviting me here today. I'm excited to talk about mentoring. It's a topic that's very dear to my heart.
I can tell. And I can't wait for you to share about our ILHEMA mentoring, ILHEMA annual conference mentoring experience, because as I've stated all week long, ILHEMA leads the way. We do. We do. We are so innovative and innovative without a lot of resources, right? Our board members and volunteers, we're all volunteers. And we're not just names on the website, right? We are actually meeting and doing and performing and mentoring and learning and growing. I can say truly that as I wrap up my year in my actual presidency role, moving into past presidency, I've grown, but I've also learned some things about me. So let's talk about, before Angie talks about mentoring, her mentoring experience, let's set the stage to talk about mentoring from a very basic perspective. So mentoring is really about creating this developmental relationship. It's about one person mentoring the other, but the end result is that they both grow. The mentor is more knowledgeable, right? And mentoring is designed to help the person that's less experienced grow. I will say there is a concept that many of us don't know about, which is reverse mentoring. Us as older professionals, we can learn so much from the younger professional. I can recall seeing some of our members recently who were trying to do something with their cell phone, right? Those young folks, they know how to do all the tricks and all the things with the cell phones. As we have younger physicians coming up, when I'm walking the hallways of hospitals today and emergency rooms and I see physicians, I'm like, whoa, they look like they're the same age as my kids or younger. But when you sit and have conversations with them, they're so tech savvy, so smart, just have so many skills that can bring value to the profession. We just have to help support them in that growth, and they help support us in where we are and help us as we transition out.
Well,
So
I think that is such an important um, topic, is that mindedness to mentoring, that it can be work in a reverse cycle. When you're mentoring somebody, it it should not always be one direction. You've got to be open-minded. Both parties should be so open-minded to learning, because the mentor can learn a lot from the mentee. they can learn about themselves, but they can learn about an area that maybe they're not familiar with as well. They may be teaching skills or mentoring for skills or growth in an area, but the mentee may actually outrank them in other areas. So being open-minded and interested in that growth is an important characteristic of a mentor.
Absolutely. So when I think about the purpose of mentoring, two words come to mind: growth and development. At the end of the day. And one of the things that I think about related to the importance of mentoring is, we're HI professionals. Happy HIP week again and again. But when you're mentored, it impacts you professionally and personally, right? Professionally, it can help you accelerate your career, it can develop your professional skills. But from a personal perspective, it can help you with communication, it can help you with your leadership. I think a lot of people, when they hear the word leader, they think it means you're in charge of other people. And that's not the full gamut of what it means to be a leader. But also, I think mentoring helps build confidence because you're like, yeah, I can do this. I just needed to make, a few tweaks. So mentoring can be formal or informal, and Angie is going to talk about an example from the ILHEMA conference as well as some other examples. But mentoring can also be in a group. It can be peer to peer. And when it comes to the effectiveness of mentoring, I think there's three key aspects that I believe should be in place. Number one, you have to have clear goals. So if you want to be mentored because you would like to, I'll just use a simple example. Maybe when someone says, I would really love to submit an abstract to present at a conference, right? So that's the goal, right? They want to submit an abstract and present at a conference. So me as a mentor, for example, I can walk them through that process of this is how you do your abstract, right? But then think about the end result. What do you want your participants to learn, right? And so walking that person through that one goal is an example of mentoring, right? But as I'm walking that person through that example of how to meet that goal, I'm continuing to refine my own processes about my own submission of abstracts. Case in point, right before we went live, I was meeting with my virtual assistant and we were submitting the abstract for a conference. And we were reading something and I was like, oh, that could be a reason why some of our abstracts aren't getting um, accepted, right? So even though I've been speaking for 25 years, today I learned something new that can help me for the future, right? And so she's younger than me, right? And we were having that conversation and we got to that end result.
So
So
Lisa, let's talk about goals for a minute, because this is not as straightforward as it sounds sometimes, especially with our younger generation. They may understand that goals are important for a mentoring relationship, or they may have been told that goals are an important aspect of that relationship. Uh, and and I agree 100%. That should be the focus of your relationship, but they may have a hard time developing or realizing what that goal should be, or even expressing what they want their goal to be. They may know that they need a mentor, but they may not even be able to come up with the goal. So working with a mentor who is willing to work with you through those conversations to help you develop those goals is also important. It's not always as direct as somebody who knows, I want to, create an abstract. I want to present. Have seen younger students who have just completed their, maybe their bachelor's program, and maybe they want to grow their network. Maybe they want to plan to sit for a credential. Maybe they wonder, should I go on to graduate school? But they've also got families, or maybe, with as vast as our industries is, they're just not sure what direction they want to go. So where do they begin with goals? How do they narrow that down to have a meaningful mentoring relationship? Something that you can measure, something that you can touch base on with those mentoring meetings.
So this is what I have done in the past, and I actually do this with my adult children, two of them that finished their bachelor's degree. First, I have to take my parent hat off, right? Because I can't be mom. And the first thing that I generally do is just listen to what they want to do. And then I summarize my understanding of what it is they want to do. In my mind, I'm already thinking about how to help them generate a SMART goal, but I have to listen to what it is they're saying, summarize it, and then I'm visual, right? So I'm gonna meet them in a Zoom, and I pull up. I'll like have a file where I'm typing notes, and then I'll pull it up on the screen and say, "Hey, let's look at this. What do you think?" And they're like, "Yeah, this is exactly what I want to do." And then for me, that's a teachable moment. So I'll say, "Well, what we've created is a SMART goal: is specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, and timely." And then I asked them, so what do you think your next steps should be? What are potentially some barriers? Is there something that we need to tweak about this goal that aligns with the fact that you're working a full-time job, right? During the day and in the evening. I know like my kids, they watch me work day and night. And that is something that they do not want to do, right? So 4 or 5 o'clock, they're like, I'm done. I'm not turning on that computer. I'm not checking the email, right? So how do I help them accomplish that goal within their boundaries that they've set for themselves, which I actually love, 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 love. They're not doing that day and night working like we did or do.
That's exactly right. A mentor has got to be able to listen, and not push your agenda. You have got to listen to what the mentee is looking for, guiding them, um, pointing out that there could be barriers, asking those important questions. How can you reach this goal? What tools can we use? Um, uh, how can we measure this? What does success look like? And again, not pushing your agenda. It's about the mentee.
Mhm. The other thing that kind of goes in tandem with this, once you have the goal set, you have to do this continuous feedback to help with adjustment of the goals, adjustment of the method to get to the goal. Every year, I create a goal plan for myself. It's a vivid vision. And this is going to sound like overkill, every week, I'm meeting with my virtual assistant to go over the vision. And I do this because it keeps me accountable, it keeps her accountable, and we continue to grow and learn and develop as a part of the process. But we both are working towards the goals that I have set, right? So adjusting the goal, tweaking it. I think a perfect example with our strategic plan this year. There were a couple of goals that last June we were like, yes, this is what we're going to do. And, here it is, April. Some of those goals we haven't met, some of those goals we've had to adjust, but we're constantly looking at them to see what we can do to meet them. Also, I think something that's really important, and you're probably going to talk about this, but with mentoring, there has to be some trust, right? A trust and open relationship. And I think my last point, and I'm going to turn it over to you, Angie, to talk about your experience, but I think there are some challenges in mentoring, right? There can be a mentor-mentee mismatch where they're just not compatible. Um, there's also lack of commitment, right? That's huge. But then there also can be some cultural differences and how you address and respect diversity in mentoring relationships as well. I remember being mentored by one of our colleagues who is no longer here with us, Jerry Smothers. And one of the things that she said to me was, you can't please everybody. And she also said that she struggled with having that balance. Like she'd be calling me and it'd be like 8, 9 o'clock at night. I think she struggled with that balance as well. And I actually learned through her that I had to work on my balance. And that is being lived out right now, where I have really reversed how I operate on a day-to-day basis. And it's been amazing. So Angie, this year for the ILHEMA conference, you had a mentoring, you provided a mentoring experience for, was it just students or was it students and professionals?
It was students. We did it in conjunction with our student symposium this year.
Oh, the one we did for free?
Yes, for free. That ILHEMA provided for free to students this year in conjunction with the ILHEMA annual conference.
Oh, shameless plug, shameless plug. We have a fall conference, details to be released shortly, where we'll follow the same format as we did in, what was that, March?
March.
Yeah, so the first day for us old timers, and then the second day for students. And that was such a good experience this year. I'm really looking forward to our fall workshops. But I'm going to turn it over to you, Angie, to talk about some things you've done. I know you've worked with AHEMA as well after our program got started. So take it away.
Well, I think I'll step back and talk about what we've done, what we've learned from that as ILHEMA, and kind of how we changed it up this year. The past 2 years previous to this one, with our annual conference, the ILHEMA annual conference, we provided a mentoring program where we matched students and new professionals with an ILHEMA member at the conference. This was our initial starting point, our initial attempt at a mentoring program. We wanted us to provide a network or a mentor to some of these young new professionals. It was not an ideal situation, and we learned this. We had so many people post-COVID, during and post-COVID, that just could not commit to a long-term mentoring relationship, both from the student side, from the mentee side, and from the mentor perspective. They said, one day during the conference was what they could commit to. And so we listened to our members, and that's what we did. Again, it was not ideal. We learned from this. We did not have dedicated time for our mentors and mentees to work together, to spend time together. They did attend sessions together. They had lunch together. They attended our annual business meeting together. And I want to plug, Friday is our annual ILHEMA business meeting. So make sure you're here for that. And everybody can attend because it's virtual. So no excuses for that. But there was benefit gained. Even though it was not ideal, there was benefit gained, but people wanted more. So this year, we really changed things up with ILHEMA. Again, ILHEMA leads the way. Shameless plug again. ILHEMA leads the way. And we went to a new format, doing 2 one-day annual conferences. And on the second day, we have provided a student symposium. And this is a 1-day conference, free, no charge to students, where we have a conference specifically for students on topics that they need. We had some great topics, and that included topics about creating their own brand. One of them was on mentoring. And so along with that, we added our mentoring program to the mix. This time we designated some set aside time for mentoring. And we had enough wonderful volunteers from ILHEMA and AHIMA. We had some AHIMA volunteers that were at the conference to match those that had signed up for the meeting to have a 1-to-1 match for our mentees. So our students were able to spend time one-on-one with a mentor. They were not in groups, they were one-on-one. And we provided this during our lunchtime and for a period afterwards. So they were able to eat and communicate, talk, meet with their mentor. But after about 40 minutes, we switched them up and moved them to a second mentor. They got another perspective, an opportunity to grow their network even a little bit more, meet somebody maybe from a different industry, just hear new ideas, fresh perspectives, and everybody loved it. The only negative comment we had was we want more. More students wanted in, more mentors wanted in. And so, we hope to be able to offer this again. We're planning to offer it again in the fall. We had some great conversations and again, wonderful feedback. You mentioned that AHIMA, we've had some experience with AHIMA. AHIMA does have a mentoring program. They did have for several years. They discontinued that again shortly before COVID, and they have started that again. Last year was the first year. It was a smaller program. It's called their M to N, mentor to mentee or program, and they are having that again this year. I am very proud to say I am one of the mentors. I had a student last year and have another one this year that I'm working with. It's a wonderful program, and I learned something in every session about myself. They provide a lot of resources for us, and it helps me and it fills me up as a professional and as a person. Giving back again, it's something that I want to do, and I think most people that mentor really want to do. When I think about mentors, and a lot of people have said to me when I've talked with them about being mentors for our program, and they say, oh, I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough time. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do it. I've never done that before. My first comment to them would be, try it. Have a little bit of faith in yourself. There is something that you have to share with somebody that can help. The characteristics of a mentor are those that a lot of us in HIM have got to have. And I will start with patience. You need to have patience. And you kind of talked on that a little bit earlier about sitting back and listening. You do need to sit back and listen to your mentee. You're there to guide them. You're not a teacher. You're not a manager, and you're not a coach, but you're a mentor. And that is different than a teacher or a manager or a coach. It's very similar to a coach, but you are coaching them for their future, not the here and now, not for today's ball game, but for the future of their profession, their future career. Maybe for things they're working on right now, like submitting that abstract, but it's to help them move forward in their career. You do need to be self-aware. You need to know about the things that you've done, realize that you've made mistakes along the way and want to be able to share your growth and be real with the person that you're working with. You talked about the trust, but confidentiality goes along with that too. Anyone that works in health information knows that how important confidentiality is. But those relationships that you develop have got to also have that trust and confidentiality. They've got to be held private. So, make sure that when you go into that relationship, that's something that you're willing to hold close to you as well. The person that you're working with, they want to be able to open up to you, and you want to give them an environment where they can feel comfortable opening up to you. We talked a little earlier about being open to learning, because that mentee that you're working with may teach you more than you're teaching them at the end of the day. Be an encourager, be their cheerleader. You don't know when you're starting out where some of these people have come from or what kind of support they may have ever had. You may be the biggest cheerleader that they ever had, and that may be all they need to propel them into something wonderful. They may just need somebody to tell them they can do it. So be their cheerleader and encourage them to reach for that bar that they want. Give them some confidence to go try it and try new things, and challenge them, but do so appropriately. Don't set them up for failure. If you're going to challenge them, make sure you're giving them some tools or some resources to challenge them with. And then, utilize your network. A perfect example I can share with you about that is a mentee that I had worked with recently was in another state. We had worked together for about a year, and as our relationship was coming to the end of the period that we were working together, I needed to turn them over as they were meeting their goal. And because of my network, I was able to reach out to somebody in my network who lives in the same state that they live in and say, hey, I have a mentee that I've been working with that would like to try XYZ. I'm wondering if it would be okay for them to contact you or you to contact them and arrange for a conversation on this topic. They did. It started another wonderful relationship. And, I was able to handle that handoff very well because of my network. And that helped them grow their network. So don't be selfish with your network. What does it have to gain you? Your friends are not going to leave you for somebody else. So share your network. We talked about goals, how important those are, but you may need to help them set those goals. And then the vision. I think the one thing that I will touch on with the vision is that vision boards are an excellent tool. I've heard a lot of mentors, I've heard teachers, I've heard counselors, advisors in all capacities use vision boards. They are visual, they help people, and sometimes that is the tool that can keep people on track. Whether you make it digitally, whether you make it physically, getting that vision, getting that goal on paper, getting it where you can put it on the wall, getting it where it's tangible to them and it becomes real to them. And it is something that they're checking in on regularly, whether it's in your regular meetings, whether it's weekly, like your example, Lisa. You've got to make those goals real. With students, it can be a picture of them with a graduation cap, or holding a diploma. It can be them with a business card with their name on it, whatever it is, but you've got to make it real. So, a vision board is a wonderful tool that you could consider using. So if you haven't been a mentor, try it. It I guarantee you it will be so rewarding. It will be a wonderfully rewarding experience. If you are able to be a mentor for our fall program, again, we'll have details on that very soon. Please reach out. We have so many students that want mentors. And if we can arrange for this and to do a one-on-one again, what an awesome experience. Let Ilhema lead the way again by providing some one-on-one mentoring for them, even if it is just for the day. If you want to continue after that, then certainly that's up to you and the mentee, but consider it. Mentoring is a magic time between you and the person you're working with, and it can change lives. It really can, both yours and the mentees.
I love that. I love that, Angie. You know what? I think that people think that what you go through and what you know is for you, but it's not for you. It is for you to help someone else get to that place. We don't all have strong influences in our lives. We don't have um, resources available to us, on a regular basis. And so I like the fact that what you are presenting and have done successfully is this one moment in time opportunity to mentor someone to help them move to the next phase in their life. And believe it or not, hey, let me just give a perfect example. Therapy. You go to therapy, you can have one session that can be mind blowing. So, one mentoring session for an hour over lunch is helping someone else growth and development. And that's what we should aspire to do in life, not be so me focused. I think oftentimes, and I'll just use myself as an example, when people contact me for mentoring, in the past, my schedule has been so over the top that I didn't even have enough time for me. And you can't help somebody else if you're not advocating and helping yourself first. And we talked about that yesterday. So I think, as we continue throughout this HIP week 2024, where Ilhema leads the way, that we all stop and reflect on what our industry has done since 1928. We had some very humble beginnings, and we have done and seen some things, terminal digit filing and just all the things, and how thick the record should be and how far the sprinklers should be from the shelving units. Our industry has evolved, but we as people, as professionals, have to continue to evolve so that we can be ready for the next phase of what the future has. Today is over, right? It's all about the future. And I personally believe that you should be learning faster than you're growing. So when you get to the place, you're ready. But if you're not continuing to learn from others and learn about yourself, you're going to be in this holding pattern. And I don't know about you, but I don't like being on the plane in a holding pattern and I can't land or I can't take off, right? So I like to take off and go down. It's very rewarding for me. And I like to take others with me on the journey.
Very much so. When you can see somebody that you have helped succeed, it is a win for you as much as it is, or sometimes even more so than it is for them.
Mm. Mm-hmm. And I'll just give one final example of an organization that maybe unintentionally mentors. McDonald's. McDonald's, if you think about it, from one generation to next, what do the kids like?
Happy Meals.
Happy Meals. Yeah. And so McDonald's has established this brand, and they have these taglines. Was it? Is that I'm loving it? Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so, but they're able to do that because they're advocating for their brand and they continue to deliver something that generations to come will enjoy. Now, I'm as an adult, McDonald's is like there's nothing else for me to eat, so I'm going to stop at McDonald's. But my point is they have longevity. And in order to have longevity in life, you need mentoring, support, and you need to advocate for yourself. So, Angie, do you have any final parting words before we say goodbye? Happy HIP week again and again. But anything else you want to share?
Well, I think that on behalf of everyone at Ilhema, Lisa, I just will say thank you for all you've done for all of us this year as a president. I feel personally responsible for that uh, since I recruited you for this role. Very proudly, I will say. But you have done so much and taking this out there, showing the world what Ilhema is doing and how we're leading the way, giving us a format to talk about mentoring, to talk about self advocacy, to share the faces of health information. Has been a great way to show off Ilhema. And I'm so proud to say that, I'm part of that organization and I really appreciate it. And I know that the board does too. It takes a lot of time and you have made it look easy. And we are very proud of the work that you've done. So thank you for all that you've done for us and advocating for us and making and helping us lead the way. But for anybody, again, considering mentoring, if somebody contacts you about mentoring, please give it a thought. Give it a little bit of your time. I know that we all say that we are up to here with not enough time in the day, but think about what that can mean to that other person who maybe needs you for 30 minutes or an hour one time. How life changing could that be to them? It really can be life changing for somebody.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's all for today. This is day 4 of Ilhema Celebrates HIP Week 2024. Tomorrow is the conclusion with the business meeting. And look for an email in your inbox about signing up to volunteer for our fall conference and as well as other opportunities that we may present in the future, such as a virtual mentoring experience as well. Because we know that everybody can't be in the same place physically, but Zoom is an option with breakout rooms and all of that. So more to come on that. Thanks for joining me today, Angie.
Thank you for having me.